What if the life you built was stolen from you by the people you trusted most? Imagine waking up one day to find your home gone, your family's name dragged through the mud, and your future erased. That's exactly what happened to Sera. All because of a lie, a betrayal so deep it shattered her world. But this isn't a story about her fall. It's about her rise. And it starts with a question she asked herself in the darkness. How do you rebuild when you have nothing left but ashes? Sera started from zero. She took on menial jobs, swallowing her pride, every day a battle just to survive. The world that once adored her now scorned her. She was alone, broken, and invisible. The weight of it all was crushing her. One night, curled up, ready to give up, her little brother Cale, who hadn't spoken since the tragedy, walked over to her. He put his small hand on her shoulder and whispered just 3 words, "I believe you." In that moment, something inside Sera reignited. It wasn't just a flicker. It was a wildfire. His belief became her armor. She wasn't just surviving anymore. She was planning. She was training. She was becoming the woman who would one day make them all pay. Every drop of sweat, every sleepless night was fueled by those 3 simple words. While Sera forged herself in the fire, the palace that had cast her out began to crumble from within. The king started having terrible nightmares, waking up screaming her name. The queen, who orchestrated Sera's downfall, became consumed by paranoia. She'd lose precious jewels, only to find them in plain sight, accusing servants and driving her staff to despair. The final straw came from the most unexpected place. The queen's most loyal maid, a woman who had served her for 20 years, walked out. But she didn't leave quietly. She left a letter on the queen's pillow. It didn't contain threats or secrets. It simply said, "Your Majesty, I can no longer serve a crown that has lost its honor. I pray you find peace, but I must find my own." That quiet act of defiance was a louder crack in the foundation of the palace than any rebellion. The prince, the one who had once been Sera's closest friend and stood by while she was condemned, was haunted by a different kind of ghost, his own guilt. He tried to lose himself in his duties, in his training, but her face was everywhere. One evening, he was reading a book of philosophy, trying to find some escape, and a single line leaped off the page, "Silence in the face of injustice is the voice of the accomplice." The book fell from his hands. He saw it all clearly, his silence, his inaction. He hadn't just watched her fall, he had helped push her. That night, the stoic, perfect prince shattered. He finally understood that his crown was worthless if it was built on the ruins of an innocent life. He wasn't a noble prince, he was a coward. The breaking point for the entire kingdom arrived during a royal council meeting. The lords were bickering about taxes and trade routes when the doors burst open. Lord Farron, one of the king's most trusted advisors and a key player in the conspiracy against Sera's family, strode into the center of the room. His face was pale, his hands trembling. And in front of the king, the queen, and the entire council, he confessed. He laid out the entire plot, every lie, every forged document, every paid witness. He spared no one, especially himself. The room exploded into chaos. Shouts and accusations flew. The queen collapsed. The king sat frozen on his throne, the entire legacy he'd built turning to dust before his eyes. The truth, once buried, was now a rampaging inferno burning the palace to the ground. A few days later, there was a quiet knock on Sera's door. She opened it to find the prince. Not the royal heir in his fine uniform, but a man in simple, plain clothes, standing alone in the rain. His face was etched with a pain she'd never seen before. And then, he did something that sent shockwaves through the very idea of monarchy. He bowed. Not a polite nod, but a deep, formal bow, his head lowered to the woman his family had destroyed. "Sera," he said, his voice thick with emotion, "I failed you. And I have come to ask for your forgiveness, though I know I have not earned it." Sera looked at him, the boy she once knew, now a broken man. There was no triumph in her eyes, only a profound, weary strength. She didn't raise him up. She didn't slam the door. She simply said, "Forgiveness is not mine to give. Justice is." In the end, justice was served. Those who conspired were stripped of their titles and lands. The king abdicated, and the prince took the throne, not as a ruler by birthright, but as one who had to earn his people's trust every single day. Sera's family name was cleared, their lands restored. But she didn't return to the life she once knew. She used her newfound resources to build schools and shelters, creating a new legacy, one forged in fire and compassion. This story reminds us that our true strength isn't found when life is easy, but in how we rise from the ashes. It teaches us that silence can be a betrayal, and that true power lies not in a crown, but in the courage to do what is right. If this story moved you, think about a time you stood up for something you believed in, or a time you wished you had. Your voice matters. Don't be afraid to use it. Thanks for watching, and if you want more stories that inspire and make you think, don't forget to subscribe.